So.
Okay, perfect. So, hey, everybody. See, we've got our whole Pipeliner community with us today, which is fantastic. So, depending on where you are, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope you've all had a good day or about to have one. So, we've got the scenario set up, okay, to show you exactly what Todd just described. And it's the sort of thing that customers are asking me about all of the time. So, what can I do with this new emailing functionality? How would I use it? And this is just a really good example. So the first thing I guess about this fantastic, it's not brand new, we've had it, but we've been enhancing it. This fantastic new area that we've added to Pipeliner is, if you think about it as sort of marketing light, we're not aiming to compete with MailChimp, for example. What we're aiming to do, and what I think, genuinely believe that we've really succeeded in doing, is giving a really simple and easy to use tool for account managers, marketers to some extent as well, to use directly from inside of Pipeliner, okay, to send whatever it happens to be, invitations, notifications about things. All of you hopefully have seen my emails about maintenance and new releases. I use it myself. As you know, we all use Pipeliner here every day. So we're reaping the benefits, and I hope that you'll be able to do exactly the same. So we've got our scenario. We've got our fantastic event coming up at the end of the month. I want to tell my customers about it, my contacts to be precise. And it's exactly the sort of thing that account managers want to do just all of the time. Okay. Now, of course, what you don't want to do is watch me type. So I've got some stuff prepared here.
Thank you.
But the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to set up my template. Okay. So I'm going to go to Tools and the Template Manager. Okay. Now, there are different types of template that you can set up. I'm going to touch on those. But the one that I'm going to set up, because it's the one that most of us are going to be doing every day when we're using this feature, is a new text template. Okay. And I'm going to name my template.
So Liz, quick question here, just while you're going through it. Can anybody do this that's a user of Pipeliner, or is this only like the admin can make an email?
No, other people can. Other people can as well. Absolutely. Anybody who needs to, depending on the way that you're set up, can access this area.
Okay, cool. So every salesperson, everyone, a user of Pipeliner, all have access, or they can have access to be able to do these.
Absolutely.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And that's why I'm using this example, because as I said, it is the sort of thing that we all could just do every day. So here's some text I prepared earlier, right? So you don't have to watch me type. So this is going to be the subject line of my new template. Okay, so I'm going to put it in here. And then see, I've got the text here, and I've got all of my text sort of pre-prepared just to paste in. Okay. And I can format it and sort it out and add bold, and you see I can take away bold, all sorts of rich text formatting is available for me down here, including the ability to add links. I can do bullets and numbering, reformatting, headers, etc. Okay. That didn't paste too good, but there we go. Okay, so I've got my text in there, right? Easy to do, type it in, paste it in, whatever you've got, okay? Next thing, of course, what I want to do is when I'm sending this email out, I want it to go to the first name of the people that I'm sending it to, okay? So what I need to do is, obviously I can't type it in, I need to personalize my template so that it's going to go and pull the first name of all of the people that I send it to right off of the contact record. And in order to add those fields in, those personalization options, I can either click here and get access to all of my fields, okay? Or I can be where I want it to be and just press the hash to get to the same thing. Okay? Either way. I'm going to click here. It gives me a nice search option. And that means I can just go straight through and look for the field that I want to insert. And obviously here, I want my first name field. Now, this works for mass emails. We're going to talk about different types of email in just a second. Mass emails, obviously, where you've got a group of people that you're sending it to, you want it to pick out the right first name from each one, okay? As opposed to the other type of email, which is a standard email. So this personalization works for mass emails, and it works for emails that you're just sending singly, you know, day to day in Pipeliner that we'll touch on in just a second. Okay, now obviously my formatting is a bit rubbish here, but you can click on the eye here to get a visibility, how it's going to look. Okay, now I'm going to
question, Liz.
Yeah,
quick question, Liz. Is there a way that I can personalize the subject line like the way you did the first name? Is there any way even in that subject line I can add something in? Because I just think I get a better open rates if it's only unique, you know. That's
a really good question. I'm glad you brought that up, because this just touches on one of the things that some customers have been asking me about. Okay, and it's important when you're setting up a template that you know where you're sending it from. Okay, so if I look here at, you know, account name, I've got account name that belongs to account records. But if I scroll down a little bit, I've also got account name that belongs to a contact, because most contacts, of course, in Pipeline are linked to companies. Now, I'm going to be sending this template from the contacts area. And that means that this is the one that I need to pick. Yeah, so you'll see here in my personalization, I've got contact dot company name, primary account name, in the same way that down here, I've got contact first name. Okay, and that means that Pipeliner knows where it is, and it knows to pull the right information from the right area. You start just inserting this one, it doesn't know where to get that from, because it's not sending this email to accounts, it's sending them to contacts. Okay, so just a little tip for success there. Whenever you're setting up all of these personalized options, make sure that they're all from the same area. They're all from contact, or they're all from opportunity. It's super simple to see, because it's going to tell you right there on screen. Okay.
Liz, just a quick one. Craig just wants to ask, can you show how to put the contact name in the body of the email again, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just going to take this one out. Okay. So I've got my template here, and right here, of course, is where I want it to say, Dear Craig. So I'm just going to either use the hash key or click on this icon here. And then what field do I want to insert? Well, I know that it's called first name. Yeah, so rather than scroll through what can be lots of fields, particularly in our live system, I'm just going to find it, and I'm just going to insert it straight in there. So this one's going to be from me. Okay. The thing about a template is it's all about sort of sharing across the team and saving time for everybody. Okay? So it's probably not just me who's going to want to email my contacts about this fantastic event that we're running. Everybody else is probably going to want to do the exact same thing. Now, obviously, I'd work a little bit more on my formatting if I was going to do that. But I can also format this like footer information so that Todd could use the exact same template to send to his contacts, and Joe could use the exact same template. So how would I do that? Well, again, it's personalization. Okay, so I've clicked here after my kind regards or warm wishes or whatever we use, and I'm going to click. And again, I'm looking for first name, but this time I want my first name. Yeah, so first name here is, this is your first name when I send it to you. At the bottom here, I want it to say from Liz. And I've also got this section here that you can see that's all about the user. So when I send it, it's going to go from me. And when Todd sends it, it's going to go from Todd. And when Joe sends it, it's going to go from Joe. And I can do the same here.
I can hear John getting excited as the head of marketing. He can like write the emails. He's a little better on the wordsmithing than others here, and he could do his magic. Yeah, then I could dive in and use his. Perfect. All right.
I know, it's fantastic. It's fantastic.
And of course, this is one of, again, all about that time saving, that sharing effort. Not everybody has to know everything about it. And that's really important when we come and look in a second just for these beautiful HTML templates. Okay, so I've got that all set up. And now, obviously, again, if you're just sending a small mass email to your own contacts, unlikely that they'll want to, but it's always courtesy at the very least and good practice, for everybody to have an unsubscribe link in your email. So I've got my little bit down here about, if you'd rather not get it. And then I'm going to click in the right place and I'm just going to click my unsubscribe link. And I'll show you in a second where that feeds back into Pipeliner if a contact chooses to click on it. What else can I do? Well, of course, I can attach documents, more than one. Yeah, and I've already got my lovely link here for my people to click on so they can find out more information about this event. So, yeah, obviously I'd be working on my bold and things like that in real life, but what I can do now is save my template. Okay, done. Now, of course, I'm talking about it going from me when I do it and Todd, etc. Now, for all of you, hopefully you're familiar with the way that Pipeliner works. Everything works in the same way. We try and make it really easy for you because we're so consistent. And this is just exactly the same as everything else. Profiles, reports, etc. If I create it, it's going to belong to me by default. And I absolutely get to share it with everybody that I want to share it with by just clicking on the gears icon. Always gives you these options throughout the whole of Pipeliner. I'm just going to click on share, and I can either make it available to absolutely everybody by making it public, or I can pick selected people that I know and I want to use it. As I could choose Todd, for example, and then click on share. And that means that when any of my colleagues go into the template manager, they're going to be able to see and use my template. Okay, so very quickly, just before I leave this area, let's have a think about sort of HTML templates, because what's the main difference? The main difference, of course, between this rich text template that I'm using and HTML templates is the look of them using graphics and all sorts of things. Okay, so we give everybody this one here as an example, and if you click on it, it's definitely underwhelming in this view, but click on the eye to get the preview, and all of a sudden you start to think, oh, okay. Yeah? Now, believe me, this is not the sort of thing that I'm going to be starting from scratch, but it's not supposed to be. Yeah, this area is supposed to be available for your marketeers, for your experts who are doing these beautiful things and who can set up these HTML templates for you. And they're so easy to do. So I'm going to go to my new.
Hey Liz, we had a question here. One person said if they want to insert a graphic, like cut, copy, paste, right? Do they have to, if they want to paste it in, do they have to use the HTML temp editor, or does that work in the plain text version?
The graphic itself doesn't work in the rich text, the text version. Okay. Obviously, a link to click through to it would. If you do want graphics, then you need to use the HTML. Okay. Okay. Here's one I got earlier, didn't do earlier, and I'm just going to copy all of this text. Okay. And then here in my new template, I'm just going to paste it in. Okay. So I haven't had to do any of that. Somebody who knows how to do beautiful things like John would do this for me, and he or I can then just paste it in. And if I click here, nice. Yeah, so this is the lovely graphic version. Okay, but in here, I also want to include my first name. And if I click. As I get down here, I actually can find right here where it lives, okay, in this particular template, and I can use my personalization options. So again, even though this is our HTML, I still get to insert that customization in Pipeliner. And now when I click on the preview, you'll see that it's referencing my contact first. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Also, I heard, just as a tip for people who came, I think in our next release, which do releases monthly, and so I think our next release would be version 3.2. There's even going to be some really nice enhancements to that HTML template editor. So I think so. If you're the people that are watching, if you're really into that and really need that, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised at the next launch too. So.
Definitely. Advantage of things like HTML, so it's all of the buzzword responsive templates. So responsive templates are those that look good on multiple screen formats. And we give you the ability to see that. Yeah, so this is what it's going to look like on the mobile, and this is what it looks like on the screen. Yeah, and obviously you can take that into account. So if your marketing team are developing these responsive templates, you're going to get to be able to see exactly what it's going to look like on both formats, yeah, web app and the mobile app. Okay, now you can test it. So you can send it to a dummy contact or to yourself, for example, so you can see exactly how it looks and feels. You can share the HTML ones in exactly the same way, copy them, amend them, all of the stuff that you'd expect to be able to do. Okay, so now we've set it up and we're going to use this one here. We're going to use my lovely rich text one. We are going to send it. Okay, so next thing, I want to send it to my contacts. That can be as simple as using one of the out-of-the-box profiles in Pipeline. It all depends really on how your system's set up, because out of the box, we give you everything that you can see that's called all users versus your stuff. If I change to my, then I've got 19 here, okay? But I'm going to keep this small, so I'm just going to adapt this filter, okay? So what I normally do is switch to the list view. If you're not familiar with the list view, it's just the best for this sort of bulk operation, because you can just put into this view exactly what you need to see. So what do we need? We need to make sure that everybody's got a good and properly formatted first name. So, you know, these two, for example, we wouldn't want to be sending this template right now. We want to be going into these records and updating their first name, because we certainly don't want to be saying, hi, N, please come to our event. Not a good experience.
Not a good look.
Okay. No, exactly. But this is where the list view is just epically good at helping you get all of this sorted. And look, yeah, that easy. Inline editing, done. Yeah. Okay, so I don't want to go to all of these dummy email addresses. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of restrict this view a little bit. So I'm going to go to my filter tab and enable filtering. Okay, and then I just want to send it to some pipeline of people because they're not going to mind. So I'm going to look for primary email address here, and I've got all sorts of ways of looking at the data in each field, and the one that I want is contains. Okay? So what I'm going to do is pull out all of my contacts that have pipeline of sales in their email address. And here are 4 that I pre-selected. Okay, nice. Super easy filtering. All of the fields are available. What fancy stuff can you do, just in case you're not familiar with it? I don't know, let's say that we wanted to send this email to all contacts where the company was a manufacturing company. That sounds like it's quite complicated because, of course, it's the company that's manufacturing, not the people. So How would we get to that? Well, it's really easy. As you can see, when I'm filtering on contacts, I'm not restricted to just contact information. All I need to do is just start searching for my field name, and it shows you straight away that I can actually get directly to a list of contacts where the industry is, or where the company is based in, or whatever it happens to be. Yeah, I can even get to contacts linked to an opportunity with some information on that specific opportunity. Okay, so this is a really quick and simple filter, but remember how you can really dive into all of your data with Pipeline. Okay, so then I'm going to save it. Yeah, I'm not going to overwrite. Remember, I'm always going to use my save as for my new list.
Hey, Liz, we had a quick question or pop up from the group. They wanted to know how would they select, do they have to select everybody to send it to, or can they just check a few, or how do you select all in the checkbox on the left-hand side there? Or, can you just click on that? So someone had the question and just that little box on the top left.
Absolutely. So I've got my list here. I can select all, or I can click and select ad hoc. And then when I send my template, it's just going to go to 3 out of the 4 of my list. But generally, of course, when you've done a filter in particular, you're going to be clicking in this little tick box in the top left. Again, just because I can't help myself, remember that this applies to loads of things. It doesn't just apply to mass emailing. If I want to change the ownership of all of these records, this is exactly how I'm going to do it. Or bulk update something. Yeah, all of these operations work in exactly the same way. Okay. So, done my template, got that all set up, and my contacts that I want to send it to. Now I just need to put the two together. Okay, and Todd's going to talk to you about the integration that you need to have enabled in order basically to use this button. Yeah, this one that's called Create Email. And I'm going to click on it, and I have these 2 choices. So a standard email is the sort of thing where you would send it to Todd and Liz and John, and they're all going to see that they've all got it. Yeah, so multiple recipients. You can't use personalization when you're sending it to a standard email to 3 people. So you generally just say dear all, for example, is what I tend to do. You can use it if you select a single contact, of course, which I'll show you. But for this, it's a mass email, yeah, where you want it to go, hi, Jackson, hi, Joe, hi, marketing team, yeah, ignore those. And each one just to get their own single copy of it, okay? This is the email account that I'm using in this system, incidentally. But if I have them enabled in the system, this is a brand new feature that if I jump to here, I can get to. In the admin module, in the settings menu, you can now have these company emails. They've got to be a real mailbox. You can't use sort of dummy aliases and things like that. But you can add accounts, and it obviously depends on what you're using. We're a Gmail house. Lots of you using, the alternative is Office 365. So you'd say, add a Microsoft account, for example, and then you'd pick support or customer success or marketing, whatever account it would be. I've got this one already set up, but I'll just show you how it works. And there we go. And then if your users are allowed to send emails from these company email addresses, which is all about the role that they're based on, here under the features, okay, can they or can they not use these company emails? Because you might not want everybody to be able to send a mass email from marketing at, for example. Yeah, so this gives you the pipeline admin the ability to choose who can access them. And then when you're sending your template, you can pick either your own email address or you'd be able to pick from a company email address. Okay. Just as a quick aside, this is my standard signature file. Now, everybody who's using this needs to have their signature file set up. Okay. How do you do it? Down here, you just click on add signature. You paste in the content for yourself and save. And then every email that you send that's using that create email option, that's a standard email or whatever, or one that you're just typing in, will automatically have your signature file there already. But of course, this time I want to use my template. Use template. There we go. Here's my rich text getting ready for recovery with everything that I put in earlier. Now I just need to send it. But before I do that, have a look down here, because I can not only send the email itself, but I can also log it as a task if I want to track it. And these ones here would go into, if I was looking at how many emails did I send this week, logging it as a task is going to feed exactly into that sort of information. And I can even plan a follow-up call for like 5 days time, for example, or on a specific date. So I can send my invitation and I can automatically plan my follow-ups so that in 5 days time, I'm going to get reminded to phone up these 4 people and see, did they get my email? Are they coming? All of that. So super cool there, leading
That's
into
really
the process.
nice.
It's lovely, isn't it?
Yeah, because so many times, like, you want to send out the thing about this event, right? And I might just be shooting it out to my top 20 accounts. And of course, I'm going to follow up with them, right? So why not help me out instead of going each one and clicking and doing it? So that's terrific. Yeah, okay, cool.
Automatically in.
Nice.
And there we go. It's sent. And of course, if I'd chosen to create those tasks, they'd all be created. And then I would have them here on each of these contacts. So where am I going to see it? Once I've sent it, how am I going to track it? Where am I going to see it? Different places as usual. But the main place to see all emails, of course, is the Feeds tab. Either the Individuals Feeds tab, the Main Feeds tab. I'm going to go to the Main Feeds tab here because we set up this fantastic stream for you. Okay, so this mass email stream is going to show all of the mass emails that have been going out. So I don't have to filter through lots of other stuff to get to it. If I click here, for example, there's all sorts of things going on. Don't need to do any of that. You can just go straight to mass emails and see it and click to open. Oh, and I put the wrong one in there after all that. So this is where the coolness factor just goes up, okay? Because great, so far fantastic, lovely template, super easy to create, filter, send it, schedule my follow-ups, all of that's brilliant. And then on top of all of that, I now get this, right? So this is all of the ones that I sent. And then this is who's opened it, who's clicked, and so on. Let me show you, because here's one I did earlier. Here we go. So I sent 4. One of them's been opened. I've got 2 clicks. That means basically the same person's clicked twice on the link. Yep, perfectly fine. I've got my opened here, clicked, not opened, not sent. So this is like where the email failed, and those that unsubscribed. And we'll talk about that again in a second. So if I go here, for example, I can select these people. Oh, look
at this. Looks like I need to open
it. Yeah, open it now.
Oh, I'm trying.
So here's this like this sort of cadence. Yeah, the sort of the instant follow-ups. So, what am I going to do?
Also,
here?
Liz, was a good thing. We talk about measuring. What's the old expression by Peter Drucker? You can't manage what you don't measure. I really like that expression because it's one of those things like, and personally I was doing it because I sent out these guys, started using this to send out some communications to customers and partners, and it was interesting to see some of the emails I was sending I'd get like 80-90% open rates, which I think is pretty good.
That's really good.
But then it's like not that people were clicking in it, and I backed off some of I made it less content heavy, and my open rates or my click rates went up. There's different ways. I think to the eye, this lets you really see and visualize the results. I think that's so powerful.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's like, a lot of people think, oh, that's all just marketing stuff, for the marketing team to do in their fancy tools and everything like that. But it's not. It's for all of us to know the impact of the communications that we're sending every day and to just get that feedback. You're absolutely right, Todd, because you could see that so clearly. And then you can try a few things, and improve those rates of, people opening. And of course, I can have, if I was properly setting up an event, I'd have my original invitation. I'd have a template set up for those that haven't opened it to send in a week, perhaps, that would say, did you see my email about whatever? I'd have a different template to send to those that had opened it that says, brilliant, have you registered yet? I can have all of that just seamlessly running.
Yeah, I think typical in sales, been in a few of those. You'll see like the head of sales will say, okay, we're having an event, send it out to all your customers, right? I think it's that easy, right? So I think we're within like, if they give you the text, like, okay, boom, boom, maybe it's a 5-minute job. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they say, well, to just send it out, well, they can look for themselves. And then secondly, it's like, okay, what kind of follow-up are you doing? Because it's a couple days away. We don't have enough people registered, right? Who's heard that before? It's an easy way of saying, okay, these people clicked this, so I don't need to follow up because maybe they're just not interested. I mean, they went to the landing page. What else can you do, right?
Yeah.
Or went to the landing page and did sign up, and then I'm going to call those people, right? And so it's a quick look through. So there's real life examples of speed when it comes to sales. When you want to send out that quick email shot, just to kind of make it happen for that individual salesperson. I think it's incredibly easy to use. Once again, I think we're just taking a very complex process and we're making it very simple for the everyday person using Pipeliner.
Exactly. So this is from an individual person, because of course that's the other perspective that we all want, isn't it? It's like when I'm interested in my email as a whole, I'm going to go to the feeds tab. But when I'm interested in Jackson and what he's been looking at and has he opened it and read it, I'm going to be on Jackson's contact record and the feed. And all I did there, of course, was I just double clicked on him from the main feed and it jumped me straight through to his record. You can see here, and this is the one that says that he opened it. So that he opened it, and when I hover over, you can see he clicked on the link. You can see when he opened it. If he opens it again later, it will update this one he has not opened yet, because this is grayed out. Yeah, and of course, if I want to jump back, I just go to my home email. Then I get my overview again.
Yeah. Okay. And these emails, if someone had a question here about, quantity, can someone just send this out to every single contact they have access to, or are there any kind of limits that are in place for like the number of emails you can send at once, or are those kind of tied to Gmail or Outlook, or is there a combo of it?
So it's restricted to 100 at a time.
Okay.
And the reason for that is because that enables you to fly under the radar. You know what we're not trying to do that is be MailChimp. You don't want to do is be sending mass email blasts that get yourself blacklisted. And
I think Liz, that was
because you know all about
that was a question also. It's like, how do you avoid being spammer? Well, number one, you shouldn't be sending emails to people who haven't consented to receive emails to begin with. As if you are sending like prospecting emails, as Liz said, you want to keep them down in number, and there is an unsubscribe. There is an unsubscribe button that's attached to the emails, but I would always be careful. This is not an email marketing tool per se. It's not a spam tool. This should be used in a sensible, targeted way.
Exactly right. Yep. Yeah. And that's who we've aimed it at.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think another good part is if that's the goal, right? If it's, hey, we really need to get a mass email, mass communication tool for our company, we have great integrations to a lot of these tools. We have terrific integration to, full-blown marketing automation applications like Acton or HubSpot or Marketo. And then if we also have maybe just pure email marketing tools like MailChimp, great integration there. So, those are even like built into Pipeliner natively. So those would be probably something just to the customer who was asking that question. If you're really thinking, wow, that's not enough, you may want to look into one of those tools. You may try to push this a little bit too more than the goal of it, like Liz identified it earlier in the segment. So.
Absolutely. So what else can you use it for? Well, anything you can think of, really. I said this sort of thing, invitations, to my customers. I use it for customer success type communications. And of course, remember that all of this is, mass emailing, but all of this using email templates and so on, you can use in the automatizer, which we looked at in our last webinar. So just a quick refresher on that. I jump into automatizer and I'm going to select this one here. So again, this is one that we created earlier, and edit it. And this is just a very simple process, where every new lead that's created, so we don't need to have a condition, anything specific about that lead, it's just a new lead that's created. And here it is. Here's our action to send a welcome email. So you choose your send email action, and in Compose, see how it's just the same.
Oh, so I could really see where that like sales at your company name could come in handy on something even like this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's more like that generic welcome, just in case you haven't decided who's going to get the lead, but you ensure like quick lead follow up. I like that.
Yeah. And here are my templates. Yeah, so
someone else also emailed me, Liz, yesterday, and they were asking about kind of a unique, use case, and you were talking about the use cases. One of it was, kind of with this crisis, it was like, hey, what if I have a product in my opportunities, right? Because a lot of people use the product tables, and it gets like back ordered just because they can't get it from a part of the world. And so we were going through, and it was really nice. They were picking out which product was in there, which gave them a certain number of opportunities. Okay.
Yeah.
And then they were designing, saying, hey, we may have an issue with, and they inserted, a couple of the fields from the opportunity level. Okay, pretty cool. And it said, hey, schedule a call so we can kind of work on the different schedule. And it was like, for a salesperson, it was just like, you may not have to go through every single one. It was just like the eyes lit on the screen. So I think everyone can hopefully imagine those use cases. Cool. And then Liz, one other quick thing is, we've been going pretty quick here, and you're the wizard of making it look so easy, but for everyone else not so technical like you, where would a customer go if they wanted to learn more or forward this information to other people on their team? Have you done those same really nice help documents? Is that something that you can show where someone would kind of get to it, maybe even right from the app, how they'd search for it, just to keep it easy?
So from here, let's just so everything is here, and then you jump to the knowledge base, okay, and then if we look for, I'm just going to look for email, which is very generic, but it's going to show you all the things that we have available. So here's all the stuff about personalization.
Ooh, okay.
So all the sending emails. And then if we keep carrying on, let's look for the mass email one. So we've got this one that sort of covers in more detail, what we've been through today. And here's a lovely video that's going to back it up as well. And so all of these things, including like setting up the account integration that you need, that Claude's going to touch on, and building the templates, all of it is here for you to refer to in the knowledge base. Okay, so just a couple of keywords in the search, and all of these articles are going to come up, and you see we've got the unsubscribe link, and using the list view, which I just love, and sending it all the links that you need. I said all the videos at the beginning. Okay, so you'll generally find on the mortarboard here, wherever you happen to be, jump through to the knowledge base, and pretty much you're going to find an article to help you do whatever it is
Great. And from a setup perspective, Liz, is it automatically in there ready to go, or in the settings? I think I remember something having you have to kind of go in and turn on that the ability to send those out in bulk, at least with Gmail, I believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, you do. So you
Okay.
need to be using either Gmail for your email or Office 365.
Okay.
And
Would that help if I
they're
show
online.
would that
Yeah.
would that help if I showed a little bit of the Gmail? I know, John, I think
Yeah,
we're
do.
approaching our time, but I think we got a couple minutes if everyone's up for it.
Yeah,
stop
just show
sharing.
quickly so that we
Okay.
don't run over time.
Okay, perfect. Let me share my screen here, and then okay, cool. So to set it up, at least with Gmail, because I'm the Gmail fan here at the company. You go right into the top right of your screen, and you can click on the settings. Okay, and in that settings, you're going to click on the apps. Okay, and then in the apps, you can obviously you can activate your Outlook email here, or you can activate your Gmail. Okay, now with the Gmail, the second one down says activate it for sending those emails, and that means in bulk. Okay, you can see how mine's activated because I can do it. And then once you activate that, it's then the option comes to when you'll see that ability to create those emails in standard, or really this mass emailing, which is what we're talking about today. Okay, so I think some really nice things there. Yeah, and then also if you have
just the same. So
is it okay? Perfect. Okay,
yeah.
Good. And I think and this is a thing, if you're using Gmail or Outlook, and do yourself a favor and activate the integrations. They're all included. There's no extra charge for these. It'll save you so much time. Okay. Number one is what I like. I like the old set it and forget it emails. So, so any email sent or received from your company email address automatically goes into pipeline or links to the contact record, rolls it up to the account and the open deals. And it's just a pleasure to see all your comms in there without any copy paste. Right. But also, I think once you install the widget like I have here, okay, on my screen, you really can kind of put some context to those emails. Number one, you can see if the person's in there. So I always like that because I don't have to do data entry, so I can click add and it does it. Okay, but then you can really see all the open opportunities, deals, and I really like this one where I can actually schedule activities to other people on my team, and then it's linked right to that specific contact in pipeline. So I can kind of then like archive message, and I know it's like done, right, or it will get done. And then take that and then also be able to kind of cross-link, because I know, Liz, we do this a lot. You'll have, I'll say like, geez, how's the training going with that customer, and then you're like, oh, well, actually, here's the reply, Todd, and I can save that email, but I can cross-save it between contacts. So I can take the internal emails and then I can save it to like a contact or maybe like an open deal, and even save those attachments that are included with that. So just do yourself a favor if you're on the call. I'd highly recommend take the minute, get permission from your admin if you don't have it, and get those two added, because whether it's the Outlook one or the Gmail one, it's really makes the experience unbelievable. So let's see here. A couple other things, John. I think we might be. Are there any questions, John, that kind of pop up in that
There's
Q&A
just a few ones. There's
with?
ones like, can you personalize based on gender, like Mr. and Mrs.?
Yes, you can. Yeah. It's a field called salutation. Yeah, title / salutation is what you're looking for. We're a global company, and it's obviously a global solution. Yeah. So that's the word that we use to describe it.
Yeah, so Johan, it's use salutation. Somebody wants to know when the new HTML editor, the new version, will be available.
May 28th, I believe, is the next launch date of the next version. That's subject to all sorts of things, but we're usually very good on time. So just a little disclosure there, but that is the planned date.
Just one other thing that I know everyone's going to be interested in is about the ability to insert images into those text templates. Yeah, so not have to do it in HTML. We don't have a time scale on that, but it is top of the list for our dev team for enhancements to the email area. So it will be coming. I just can't promise you exactly when that's going to be. Certainly not at the end of May, but at some point after that, we will be working on enhancing it so that you'll be able to embed images directly in those text templates.
All right. That's it. I think we're good. Great webinar, guys.